Cleveland author Carlo Wolff has published a new book filled with stories about the heyday of rock and roll in Cleveland, and he talks more about Cleveland's music scene this morning. Good to have you with us, Carlo Wolff.
It's great to be here, Leon.
You've got just a wonderful book here, Cleveland Rock and Roll Memories. What was your inspiration for writing Cleveland Rock and Roll Memories?
I've always enjoyed the rock and roll scene here. I've been here for 20 years, and I've written hundreds of concert reviews, and I wanted to do something with greater depth, with greater length, and that would honor the city that treated rock and roll and me so well.
Were the promoters and the musicians and the DJs and the artists, they were all willing, I bet, to sit down and tell their stories for your book?
There were very few people unwilling to share their memories with me, and once you got them going, it was really hard to stop them. And the best thing about talking to them was they referred me to other people.
Mm-hmm. What was it about Cleveland, especially in the early days of the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and even earlier than that, that put this city on the map as a rock and roll capital?
I think in the 50s and 60s it was probably radio. Alan Freed did Moondog here, did the Moondog Coronation Ball here, and then there were great DJs like Bill Randall and Joe Finan. And in the 60s, WEWS became a powerhouse, and it's still a model of top 40 AM radio. And that slowly turned into WMMS. Meanwhile, there was a great club scene, powerful promoters in the Belkins, and it all came together.
Yeah. We've got a picture here. We're going to get a shot of this, but because this picture is appropriate for us doing this interview at Channel 5, this is a scene from our Upbeat show. Right. And this scene, this is a Paul Revere and the Raiders, I think.
That's right.
This scene was shot right where you and I are sitting right now in this very studio. Upbeat was something special, wasn't it?
It was great. It was a really powerful show. It went to 10 cities and more in its heyday, and it had great house bands and Joey and the Continentals, and many people, many stars played on it, including James Brown.
Your book is just filled with photographs. I wish we could show every one of these photographs, but if we did that, people would not buy the book. We want them to go buy the book. But this book is just filled with photographs throughout, and if we can just kind of get it. Every page there's a photograph and there's a story. What was it that turned you on about rock and roll music in Cleveland and all of this?
Well, it seemed that it was just a very thriving scene, both locally and nationally. There were great local bands that went national, like the James Gang and the Raspberries. And doing this book made me wish I'd been here. I've only been here 20 years. I missed the heyday, actually. And it sounds like there were great record stores here, too, and clubs.
What's your favorite story? Is there a favorite that you got out of here, out of researching for your book?
There are a couple of, I really like Matt the Cat's story about going to a James Brown concert in the late 60s. I very much like Dale Flanagan's bar band stories, and there's a great story in there about Chung Hwa, an old restaurant.
I know right on St. Clair Avenue.
That's right, and 30th, I believe it was. Those are my favorites. I really like them. I also liked stories about Jane Scott.
Yeah.
They were fun.
Cleveland's rock and roll queen. She covered them all. She covered them all.
She covered them all. She was there from the beginning.
What about that story about the Moondog Coronation Ball back in the mid-1950s? Thousands of people all said they were there.
Right. There's never been a solid number on that. I don't believe the arena was designed to hold 10,000, and word is 20,000, 25,000 came. It's the most popular concert in legend. It's at least as popular as the one where Springsteen played the Agora in 1978.
What happened at that Moondog Coronation Ball? Alan Freed really promoted that on the radio. What went wrong at that ball?
Alan Freed, the way I hear it, oversold. He also, and this is pure speculation, I have a feeling he had no idea how popular his show was. Okay, rock and roll was exploding, and that was the first explosion.
Yeah. So your book is just filled with things like this. The book is available at bookstores,
That's
good
right.
bookstores,
That's right.
anywhere, right?
That's right.
If they don't have it, it's probably not a good bookstore.
It's all over Northern Ohio. That's right.
And all quality bookstores. It's
That's
called
right.
Cleveland Rock and Roll Memories, True and Tall Tales of the Glory Days. So,
Right.
so some of it is just the tales and the legends.
Well, put it this way, it's hard to verify some of
Yeah.
this stuff. It's
But it's an easy read. I mean, you can put this by the bed or in the kitchen or whatever room that you do your reading in, if you get my gist there. And you
Yes,
can
I
read
do.
it quickly, read a page, and then move on to the next story.
it's designed to be accessed anywhere.
But it's all about Cleveland and what we did to
That's
put
right.
rock and roll on the map here.
Right.
Maybe I should say put rock and roll on the turntable.
That too.
Okay.
It is a vinyl era book.
Carlo Wolff, good to have you on the broadcast. 431-2665 is the phone number. You can get more information. Gray Company Publishers puts
That's
this book
right.
out. Okay, thank you, Carlo.
Thanks so much.
Log on to newsnet5.com each week to see what's coming up on Kaleidoscope. In a moment, we'll be with the Urban League's Alyssa Pennell after these words especially.